protection that has led to the state of the forest where they are.
He described timber as a very valuable commodity in this globalized world, but its exploitation should be done sustainably to enhance economic growth whilst also protecting the environment. He therefore warned all licensed dealers who connive with unauthorized Chinese dealers to desist from serving as forward agents for these wealthy nationals, saying anybody caught will have their license revoked. Jawara also said that the ministry will put in place a task force that will monitor activities of dealers and expatriates to ensure compliance. This meeting is the first step in the overall attempt by forest users and exploiters to come up with a workable framework that would guide their operations. They are keen to avoid another suspension of business which would have adverse effects on their lives and livelihoods. But as the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Forestry and Environment said, exploiting forests and forest resources comes with a huge responsibility, and government, it seems, is growing tired of malpractices in the sector that are threatening to undermine its policy guidelines. Mamadou Diallo, Grts News.
Farming activities and child marriages are some of the main factors hindering the enrollment of children to schools in the Central River region. These remarks were made during a two-day tour by UNICEF and members of a media campaign meant to sensitize rural communities to continue sending their children to learn ABC and 1, 2, 3. Ibrahim Abalda reports provincial communities have to deal with a host of issues before getting there.
The role of the Integrated Communication Plan is to drum up or engage in an ambitious media campaign geared towards changing the minds of the people. The Integrated Communication Plan, jointly hatched by UNICEF and the Gambia government, is putting the mainstream Gambian media at the forefront of the program. Through this initiative, beneficiaries, in this case pupils, the parents, and school authorities sit down face-to-face with the tour party and talk about the challenges in the area of enrollment of boys and girls to school. Omar Baji is the headmaster of Boeram Basic Cycle School. He said he was happy that much has been done since his appointment. He said what is needed now is to tackle the issues hindering the enrollment of boys and girls.
They will need to print papers and other things for exams, which goes a long way in saying reducing the cost of stationaries and the like. The other thing is like supply of books. I was also made to know that UNICEF have been supplying books for about 5 years when the school was lower basic. And then for that 5 years, the community don't used to buy books for their students.
Like in Boveram, the people of Galemanda in the Central River region explained the various constraints they face in their bid to deliver quality education in line with set targets. Headmaster Sambambalo said he was hoping to consolidate the challenges recorded over the years. I asked if enrollment was a problem. This is what he had to say.
It is very minimal now, because it used to be the case, but now it is no more the case. Anytime we have children who are here, they learn up to grade 6. That one is not a problem here now. Yes, it used to be the problem, but now it's not a problem.
UNICEF education specialist was part of the tour party. He reflected on the main issues highlighted by the people during the meetings.
They've talked about early marriage. Yes, it is a critical child protection issue we are faced with, and it is continuing to undermine a lot of our efforts and strategies. It is still a challenge, but the strategy we have used is with the mothers clubs. You will recall that the mothers club, they gave a narrative, a detailed account of their activities. And one of those activities is to make sure that they work with the communities, that they work with the parents to leave those daughters of theirs to complete a basic education of good quality.
Well, when compared to Boeram Lower Basic School, where we visited, the story here is more encouraging in terms of the enrollment rate. The authorities here are optimistic that if more hands are put on deck, the story is likely going to be different in years to come in terms of more enrollment for both boys and girls. Ibrahim Balde reporting for Grts from Galemanda in the Central River region.
Meanwhile, the people of the Central River region have begun mobilizing resources for the much-anticipated National Youth Conference and Festival scheduled to take place next month in Janjanbureh in the Central River region. On a recent visit to the region, Ibrahim Balde tried to examine the state of preparations for NICAMF 2012 in Janjanbureh.
It's an idyllic settlement for any visitor who wants to experience the beauty that comes through an insular community like Janjanbureh. Host of next month's National Youth Conference and Festival. Being an island town, first-timers may want to embark on a rounded island boat trip thanks to the navigable River Gambia. Barely 3 weeks before NECONF, we wanted to find out what has been done so far in terms of preparations.
We are highly prepared. Even yesterday, we had gathered everybody. Everybody is on the move now. Like all our pledges that we made, like we said that we are going to make sure that Sierra is going to give 11 bulls. That we have gathered is in place. Or the logistics, what we are supposed to do, we have done everything. We are just waiting for the time, and that we rest assured that we are fully prepared, and we will make sure that it's going to be a NECOF with a difference. Yeah.
Youth coordinator in the Central River region, Adama Sabali, said he was happy with what he described as massive support given to the local organizing committee.
The area council have gone very far in preparing themselves towards the forthcoming National Youth Conference and Festival. One of them, committee has been set, the youth committees has been set, the LOC has been set, with 12 different components to ensure the effective coordination of NECOF 2012.
Farming is a major preoccupation for youths in the region. Many observers believe the theme for this year's festival, dubbed Redirecting and Reorienting Youth Participation Towards the Productive Sectors of Our Economy, is well-timed, considering the fact that the farming season is almost at its peak. There is no doubt that Janjambure is going to bring together several youths around the country. However, the frequent attacks that some people experience while in the town makes others cringe when we talk about staying in Janjambure for a week. Governor Ganye Toure shed more light on the issue and afterwards issued a warning.
If people start to expose themselves, putting on this very short and let's say ungodly dresses, well, it happens. But when they dress in the normal, like it's happening here now. You see now, that's why Amitek has changed. They have their hair ties, they have their long dresses, and it hardly happens here. It's only those who dress in a very distinct way. So we have warned people that are coming, so that at least, but even with that also, we have made sure that girls are not going to stay around this end. And it only happens at Amitage and the senior secondary school. So we are going to make sure that all girls will stay at the other side of the island, that is around the Methodist towards Baobolo and Alakobo. And we have good residences there, we have good places where they can stay. So basically it's not going to be any problem.
For now, this football field is empty. However, in 3 weeks' time, if all goes as planned, the area is going to be busy with players from across the length and breadth of the country representing their regions for NECOF 2012 in Janjambure. Ibrahima Balde, Grts.
Well, we're going to take a very short break now. The news continues in just a moment. And to news from outside the Gambia, lawyers in Egypt are up in arms in protest against President Mohamed Morsi's constitutional declaration that gave him sweeping powers. They joined thousands of opponents who stormed Tahrir Square demanding the president rescind the decision, which they say amounts to a constitutional coup d'etat. And as we hear in this report, the country is bracing for more protest by pro- and anti-government activists.
Judges in Egypt are criticizing recent power consolidation measures taken by President Morsi as an unprecedented attack on the country's court system. Courts in Alexandria went out on strike on Sunday. Other provinces in Egypt are threatening to take the same path. Abdelmajid Mahmoud has become the symbol of the protest movement.
I urge you to accept my sincere gratitude over your stance in defending the independence and prestige